What's up, everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. Welcome to 7 Minutes of Strategy, part of the Sports Card Strategy Show right here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. My guest today on 7 Minutes of Strategy is Geoff Wilson of Sports Card Investor, Market Movers, and Cards HQ. Stay tuned for advice on making money flipping sports cards, the challenges creating an accurate data app for the hobby, the importance of content marketing in the hobby, major features being added to Market Movers. Geoff and his team at Sports Card Investor and Market Movers empower collectors with data to help them make more informed and confident buying decisions. Let's get into it. Geoff, welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show and the NoOffSeason.com family. I'm pumped you're here, man.
Paul, I am happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Geoff, we help people make money flipping sports cards. You have a ton of experience as a sports card investor and have no doubt been through some ups and downs over the last few years in the hobby, as most of us have. What opportunities do you see moving forward for our audience to make money flipping sports cards?
Well, I will say it's a lot harder today than it was a few years ago, right? 2019, 2020, early 2021. Man, those were the easy days. That's when, you could buy just about anybody and watch their cards go up in value and flip them and make some money. It is definitely not that way today. I mean, more cards go down in value than go up in value. It is more difficult. But even with that said, there are opportunities, and the opportunities out there are to get on a trend before the trend actually happens. And a lot of times that's getting on the hot player before the player actually becomes hot. Now that's tricky to do, and it's you're wrong a lot of times, and sometimes you're right. If you were buying Jordan Love cards in the off season or CJ Stroud cards right when they were coming out, you did pretty well over the course of the season. And there's a number of players like that, obviously, in all the sports. But it is challenging. I think your best opportunity to buy is in the off season, well before the start of the season. Typically, relatively early in the off season is your best opportunity to buy. That when nobody's really paying attention to the sports, you typically see prices of any sport fall immediately after the season ends for every player. Typically, even the players that win the championship, sometimes their cards fall after the season ends. And once you're a couple of months after the end of the season, typically prices bottom out. And then as you start to get towards the start of the following season, prices tend to rise and go up right before opening day. So it's that off-season time that I think the savvy sports card investors and flippers are making their buys for the next season. Of course, there's other ways to make money too, like buying raw and grading and that kind of thing. But I think do your work in the off season, I guess, would be, in the early off season, I guess, would be one piece of advice I would have for everybody.
Definitely great advice there. I don't care what anyone tells me. You and the team at Market Movers have created the best app for tracking sports card data. Tell us about the value proposition of Market Movers, along with some of the challenges of creating an app for the hobby.
I appreciate that. Thank you. We take great pride in the fact that we were the first app of its type, right? So when we brought that to market in early 2020, there was not a single product out there that would allow you to chart and, graph cards and track your collection price movements and all that kind of stuff. Nothing existed. We were the first to market. And we were proud of that. And we're proud to have the largest database of cards of anybody out there still to this day that are being tracked through Market Movers. It is challenging to build an app like that. And the reason why it's challenging is because the marketplaces, and honestly, particularly eBay, don't enforce standards or have standards when it comes to how cards are being named. So that's why it gets tricky, because people name the cards slightly differently. Sometimes, unfortunately, they name them deceptively. That happens on eBay all the time, where it's PSA 9, but they put looks like PSA 10 or something in the title, or it's a raw card and they put PSA 10 ? Or it's a base card, but they put silver, even though it's not a silver. And so Unfortunately, for any type of data product like ours, all of those things throw the data off. So then that puts a big job on our team to be able to sort through that and get rid of non-matching sales and normalize the data and everything like that. And that's part of the reason why it's pretty difficult and tricky to do. But, we put a ton of effort towards it. We have a big team that works on market movers and our sports card investor app and our web price guide. And every day we're in there and, looking at the data and improving the product and continuing to build upon it, because it's our vision to be not only the best app of its type in the hobby, but it's really our vision to be able to empower collectors with more data, more knowledge, and allow them to make more confident buying and selling decisions. And that's what we're trying to do with our products.
We love that here at the Sports Card Strategy Show. I know our audience does as well. Let's talk about content marketing and content creation for a second. Whether everyone watching or listening realizes it, my opinion is that every person participating in the hobby is a personal brand, quote unquote. And anyone who posts anything hobby or PC related on social media is actually doing their own version of content marketing, content creation. Your brands, Sports Card Investor, Market Movers, The Geoff Wilson Show, even Card Kids, have led the way in many regards for content marketing in the hobby. Why is content marketing important for any hobby business? And how has Sports Card Investor been so successful at it?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. I think content marketing is critical for any business because it is a free way to reach the world. I mean, it is your best way to get the word out about yourself or about your business or whatever it is you're doing. I think social, look, I know there's a lot of downsides with social media and all that kind of thing, but like, I choose to look at the massive upside. And that is that we are living in this era of the democratization of media. And what I mean by that is 20 years ago, there was no way for me to start Sports Card Investor and have anybody know what the heck it was unless I was going to somehow get lucky and convince ESPN to do it. Or if I was going to buy time on the local cable TV station. But I mean, other than that, there was no way to get the word out. And now anybody who has a point of view can start their own YouTube, can start their own social media accounts, can share stuff out there and can find a network of people who believe what they say, who like what they say, who or maybe they hate what they say, but they want to hear it said anyway so that they can debate it and argue it and whatever it may be. But you've got that ability to reach out to people. And the coolest thing about all of it is free. It's all free. It just takes the time. It's the time commitment. And just putting in the grind and the hustle. And look, we've got a big team at Sports Card Investor. We've got incredible production capabilities now, amazing people who make all of our stuff look fantastic. But it didn't start that way. It started with just me. And I literally filmed the first many episodes on my iPad and I edited them on my Mac myself in iMovie. So it was very humble beginnings, extremely humble beginnings. And, why were we so successful? A couple things. Part of it was right place, right time. Part of it was I got out there when the market was just starting to boom. Part of it was that I think that there was uniqueness to what I was talking about, and nobody else was talking about that back then. There was no one really out there, especially on YouTube, talking about the dollars and cents of sports cards and price movements and investment opportunities. Nobody was talking about it. So my content was different and unique. And I think that that's something that people can take away and apply to any content that they're doing, even today, right? Like different and unique helps you find a niche, find a place, right? And so I think that was a big piece of it. And then, the other piece of it was repetition, consistency, commitment to making it better and better. I think those things all came into play. And it is a long game. A lot of people get frustrated and give up. It with any business or any whatever, it's like, it's easy to look at the company that is overnight, there's a saying, right? You're an overnight success story, 10 years in the making, right? And so that's the thing. It's like people forget the grind, they forget the hustle, they forget how long it takes. And that's the barrier of entry. And that was true for us as well. I mean, I grounded out, to get my first, 1,000 subscribers. Like it wasn't easy. It's easy today to look at it and go, wow, 300,000 YouTube subscribers and, all of this production quality and everything like that. It was a lot of grind and hustle along the way, to get to that, and a lot of consistency, and it takes a while. And so people have to have that level of commitment.
Love the hustle, the grind, and the consistency. It never stops. And another thing is the innovation. You have not stopped innovating as well as you've gotten those repetitions. And one innovation I want to ask you about, tell us about the Sports Cards for Dummies book. How did that come about? Why did you decide to do it? And where can people get it?
I think it's awesome. I'm so excited about that project. So Wiley, which is the big publishing company that, has the For Dummies series, they approached us about it. They said, hey, we want to do a sports card collecting and investing for dummies book. We think there's a need for it in the market. We think it would do well. And I jumped on it right away. And the reason why is because I am a big proponent of expanding the hobby and bringing new people into it. I think the hobby is one of the greatest things on earth. I think it's wonderful. And I think kids getting into the hobby can help them learn a lot of life skills. It teaches them, negotiating and finance and entrepreneurship. And, there's a lot, hustle and talking to people. And there's a lot of great stuff to the hobby. The community's wonderful. The having it just collecting, and the art of collecting is wonderful. So I love sharing it with more people. And one important aspect to getting more people into it is having really helpful resources to help new people get started. And there's somewhat of a lack of that in the sports card world. Look, cards are complicated. I mean, this isn't an easy thing. Like, there's a lot to learn for somebody new getting into it. I remember my learning curve was pretty steep. And I remember one of the first things I did when I started to get back into it again was I went to Amazon and I searched for books about sports cards, and there was absolutely, or not absolutely nothing. There was like 2 that came up. Now this was, 6 years ago, but there were like 2 that came up back then. I think there's a few more now. But there was a lack of good books or information for beginners. And so now there will be a really great book for beginners, and it releases April 1st nationally. It's going to be available on Amazon, and I think we'll probably have it in different retailers as well. It'd probably be in Barnes and Noble, and maybe in Walmart and Target, and spots like that.
No doubt. I wish I would have had that book when I got back into the hobby a few years ago. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So hopefully our audience will go check it out. Geoff, since Market Movers takes data from multiple online marketplace platforms, and now you own a card shop, by the way, which we haven't talked about yet, I believe there's a white space for you to fill. So I'm going to throw out a little challenge for you and get your take on this. I've long thought that if a card shop could aggregate data and put it into Market Movers, then hobbyists could compare online sales data with in-person transactions to a certain extent. Is this something that you've thought about? Is it possible to do from Cards HQ? Is it valuable to the Market Movers subscriber?
I think it's very valuable. And the answer is yes. I absolutely want to do it. I think that is something that is completely missing from all of these data sets right now, is in-store, or you could even say like at card show transactions, right? You're only seeing online. You're not seeing in-store. You're not seeing a card show. That's a huge segment of how people buy and sell cards. So we are, in fact, going to wire up Market Movers so that it gets all of the sales history from transactions that take place within Cards HQ. And we're excited about that. We don't have it ready yet. It's not ready here day one, but it will be ready relatively soon. And it will be something that we're going to integrate in for sure.
I can assure you I will be talking about that a lot on the Sports Card Strategy Show, because that is something I have really, really wanted in the hobby in terms of these data tools. And there's already a bunch of different differentiators, reasons to use market movers. And I look forward to that one as well. Geoff Wilson, thanks so much for joining us on the Sports Card Strategy Show here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network.
It's been fun, Paul. Appreciate you having me on, man. Keep doing your stuff. It's great.
Thanks so much for joining us on 7 Minutes of Strategy, part of the Sports Card Strategy Show, right here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network. Subscribe to YouTube.com/Paul Hickey for more great content. Comment to give us your feedback, and follow us on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. Thanks, and have a great day.